Morning, everybody, and welcome to our first episode of the D-IH Talk in 2023. Welcome. For a special event today because we are going to announce some changes in our organization that will certainly have an impact on a positive impact actually on our manufacturing sector here in Luxembourg. But before diving into the subject, let me just share some information with you. Um, Hang on, that's let's do some housekeeping and some general information. So first of all, just be aware that this webinar is recorded, so it's available to you um, via this new platform that we have implemented, but it will also be available through our YouTube channel from Luxinnovation. Then, oh, this is unfortunately now the, the wrong presentation. Let me quickly do a change here. Sorry for that. Just a moment. We should have a correction quickly. So it should appear now. Let's do it again. Okay, that's a pity. Anyway, the functionality stays the same as it was last year. You have on the upper right-hand side, you will find an area that is the chat, where you can chat basically with everybody in in this web tool. We have a specific area for questions, so in case questions come up, please immediately put your questions into the questions section. I will keep a close eye on it. And after each presentation of our different speakers of this morning, we have a 5 minutes Q&A. And we will have a poll at the very end of the section that you find under interactivity. It's not visible yet, but we will make it visible at the end of this session. So let's quickly introduce our speakers of today. We have the first one after me will be Arnaud, our director for the Digital Innovation Hub. We have also Sri, who is together with a special guest today that I will disclose in a moment, and Samuel Renaud from the list, and I will close the session today with some general information about our D-IH program for this year. So this is already said, and let's then move into the D-IH Talk program for 23. Actually, since December and January, we took really some great feedback from our community of the manufacturing sector in Luxembourg. And we have really received valuable feedback, not only for the rating, also the comments that were given to us were very helpful in order to structure the D-IH talks, of course, but even more important to structure the entire program for this year that I will disclose at the end of today's session. So thanks again for those that participated, and you will recognize that we take your input quite seriously. The second thing we did was we invited for a special round, and thanks to the FEDIL again, who was hosting us on that day. And we invited people from industry, large players, we had manufacturers from the SME, we had researchers, we had providers in that workshop. And we basically challenged our entire program of last year and the year before. And it was a great idea gathering and very good feedback received on this session that helped us to structure what we are going to share today. So what I like to say and really underline with that, your input is important for us, not only for the program that what we usually call falls under inspire and inform. We will hear in a moment from Arnaud what is going to change and what kind of programmatic things we can offer in the near future. And also here, it's very important that we generate and live up for a close community, and your feedback is absolutely important. Let's move to the program as such. You registered for today, so I guess and assume most of it is known. But just from my personal viewpoint, to underline that, in fact, if we look to the rating of the different headlines we proposed and topics we proposed to you, there was a high rating, particularly on everything that has to do with data, how to gather data from the shop floor, how to connect this data with information systems that we have more on the back office side, how to analyze it, how to make it visible in a graphical way. And that was one of the main reasons that actually we decided to have within the webinars a series of 3 that simply is focusing on converting data into valuable information. We have also added, and that will be the one in May, on additive manufacturing, which was rated very high. We have supercomputing on it, design thinking, and at the end of the year, specifically on predictive maintenance and how to get there from a practical viewpoint. What is new, and you might have also registered that once you went through the registration process, it appears quite differently. Our new platform, and again, this is related to the feedback we received, have many of our actors in the manufacturing sector that are active and networking with us. They are looking for having a platform that is supporting the build up of a community. And this is what this new system is supposed to do. Of course, at the moment, you went only through a slightly different registration process, but there is by far more to come to basically facilitate community build up here in Luxembourg, particularly of our manufacturing actors that we have. And one thing we added as well is, of course, we are always looking for best practice examples from the manufacturing companies that we have in Luxembourg that were successful on certain initiatives. Also from research and also our huge provider network that is active here in Luxembourg for the manufacturing sector. And to ease the access and to become a speaker, we have also added a little application form, let's call it, where you can easily apply with your success story under a certain headline so that you get shortlisted and we can easily get then in contact with you. And building a community is all about sharing success story, but often, as we all know, sharing also the pains and the things that went probably not that well in your projects. But sharing is very important, and this is what we like to live up here in Luxembourg. That's why the DIH is indeed the networking, the hubbing part between all of that. Okay, then let's introduce my first speaker, which is Arno, our director of the Digital Innovation Hub. And yeah, Arno, the floor is yours, I would say.
Thank you, Joe, for the introduction. Thank you for this opportunity to come on this panel for introducing what is actually evolving into the Digital Innovation Hub here in Luxembourg. I mean, for the ones that are already familiar with Digital Innovation Hub, so we are here to help and facilitate digital transformation of the industry in Luxembourg. We have started existing back in October 2019. Then, of course, the COVID came into place, and had a challenge for many people, including for the Digital Innovation Hub. And then after that, we get a relaunch back in 2021, I would say. But you see, I mean, that was what you used to know, and there has been a few element of change, and that's what I'm going to actually address to you. So if you see here between the previous and this slide, you can see probably something changing on the top left-hand side of the screen, which is the logo, and that's what I'm going to cover with you. So the Digital Innovation Hub is an initiative that started back in 2019 with a set of, I would say, actors, including the university, the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, and we have those two partners with us today, the FEDIL, the Chamber of Commerce, and the FNR. And it was about the goal of accelerating digital transformation of industry in Luxembourg. But it was also aiming at joining a bigger, I would say, network, a bigger program, which is the European Digital Innovation Network. What is that? As you might know, Europe is actually very not concerned, but really focusing on accelerating overall the digital footprint of Europe with a set of initiatives. And you see them there under the Digital European Program. And probably for the ones who know, there are specific funds available for people that want to innovate in those spaces, but it's not the purpose of today. In that, there is this red box, which is the European Digital Innovation Hub. And what it is actually a set of hubs like this one, all across Europe. Today, you have 175 main hubs, and then they're complemented with around another 100. So close to 270 hubs in Europe are being set up for the moment we speak, in 2023. And usually in the larger countries, you have multiple hubs. So the focus of the hub is to be locally driven to help the local ecosystem. That's what we are doing here. Considering the large size of Luxembourg, I think the pragmatism has been to have only one hub in Luxembourg, and we have the pleasure at the L-DIH to be the national hub. And the national hub part of this ecosystem of Digital Innovation Hub. I want to note here that not all the hubs have the same focus. We are focusing on the industry. Other hubs are focusing on public sector, on the agriculture, or other sectors at large. So I think that's what is the richness of that. But our hub is actually focusing really on the industry. We focus on the manufacturing side, manufacturing the future, helping you as the industrial ecosystem here to embrace that and to transition to remain or to improve your competitiveness. We also, as a hub, are contributing to the network in terms of certain, I would say, competences. That's why we have three main competences we're promoting: the high-performance computing aspect in collaboration with a supercomputing competency center we have in Luxembourg. The cybersecurity side, that's why you will see certain new actors with us, and the artificial intelligence. And this is not only something we want to promote into Luxembourg, but also to be able to show and deliver those competences in the overall network and vice versa. So what is changing? Well, so far, the Digital Innovation Hub, as you have known it for the first, I would say, 3 years of existence, 2.5 years of existence, was about the ecosystem. It was about you. It was about understanding your needs. It was about the mapping of the ecosystem. It was about organizing events like this one, or the H1 tour, or the events for really the whole ecosystem, understanding the needs, trying to see, putting matchmaking, relationship, shaping. Tomorrow, thanks to being part of that European Digital Innovation Hub network, which is actually funded partially from a national point of view, the Ministry of Economy, but also 50% by the European program, hence part of the European Digital Innovation Hub, it adds three more, I would say, aspects. A key one, and that came a lot into our discussion the last 2 years, it's everything around skills and training. And I will cover that in a moment for the industry, for the zero, and everything also about test before invest. What if I want to go into digital transformation? How can I test technologies before investing large or small investments in those technologies? Last but not least, something you know where already Luxinnovation itself is pretty active. It's everything around supporting foreign investment, but we are going to add also a support of investment in an aspect of what I would call the private sector. So moving on to a bit more detail, what does it mean to you, the industry? Well, we'll continue to do, I think Joe is going to cover that later on, the activity and the planning, not only for what we do as what we call the information, the inspiration side, but there will be a new set of services that the Digital Innovation Hub will offer to you. And when I say to you, I mean to you, the industry in Luxembourg, the industry actors. The first one, which is an important one, it's we're going to offer you a digital maturity assessment service. It will allow you, with our support, to actually measure your digital maturity, to see where you are, not only in the ecosystem of Luxembourg, not only versus peers in Europe, but also peers in terms of size in Europe or peers in terms of domain activities, because this digital maturity assessment is the same one that is being used across Europe, across all digital innovation hubs. So the beauty is that we're going to see on different segments how mature you are in digital front to embark into that digital transformation. The purpose is not to be good or bad. The purpose is to say, here am I, and that's where I want to go, and how do I get there? Unfortunately, this year, the industry has taken the first place worldwide on a very specific award, I would say, being the most cyber-attacked industry. Before it was a financial sector. Since 2023, the industry sector is the most cyber-attacked sector. And therefore, we offer a specific new service with our colleagues of the Luxembourg House of Security. We offer a new service called a cyber security maturity assessment. So which is going more into helping you to assess how mature you are on protecting yourself related to cyber threats. We're not going to cover all the services in detail today, just browsing the picture, and we are going to have the upcoming months to deliver that to you. The next one, in link also with digital skills assessment, is actually assessing. So once you know potentially where you want to go from maturity, but what type of skills do I have in my organization that are digital skills? If I only geeks, top guys, or if I people that need to be basic, that are lower side from their maturity, what do I have at hand as digital skills in my organization to embrace that? That is another service will do. That will help us basically also, therefore, to see how you can progress into the training catalog that I'm going to cover in a moment. We'll continue to provide what we call digital roadmap support, meaning if you have a digital strategy, we can basically discuss it with you to see and enrich it further. If you don't have, we help you to set the starting point, and then after that, we point you to a partner that will be be available to help you to drill in further. Investment support, as I mentioned earlier on, it's something that most of you already know that is available through different programs, Fit4 and others, operate RDI at a national level or European level. We're going to add another layer there. What type of private investment support can be available, being on the banking side, being on different other actors. Then after that, let's start. We're going to go into these famous two aspects of skills and trainings. The first one, we're going to provide you a catalog, a repository on the platform. We're going to have in one place all what you can find in Luxembourg linked to digital trainings for the industry. It will go from platform, it will go from soft skill, hard skills, everything that existing actors do provide will be centralized into one-stop, if you want, shop or one-stop catalog into a platform as from September. And that will be the digital industry training catalog. Those trainings will be provided by competence centers, by training centers, not by us, but you are going to have the entry point to that. The second one, the same concept, but it will be on the test before invest facilities. If you want to test IoT technology, if you want to test 3D printing, if you want to test whatever it is, retrofitting of sensors into existing equipment, where can I test that before I truly invest that amount? You're going to same element. You're going to find a catalog, an inventory, if you want, of all the test before invest facilities that you will find in Luxembourg. The two above catalogs will only be for what you are going to find in Luxembourg, but gradually we're going to find also what you can find in the greater region. And after that, we're going to interconnect those catalogs so that you can know what you can find further into others. Now, we are going to also to have access to the platform of the D-IH, contains already today an element of what I would call inventory of software vendors, which we call the marketplace, that will be further enriched so that again, the purpose to be one-stop shop, one entry doors basically to that world. I mentioned about what we said about the whole catalogs and the trainings and the test before invest. Not only we're going to go into seeing with you what is existing, but part of our job will be with you to see what is missing in the ecosystem and define with you what type of new trainings or what type of new test before invest facilities we would need to support you, and it will be a role to organize that and to define those trainings that then will be, or test before invest facilities that then will be operated or given by the different people. Now, that cannot be done alone with basically the D-IH as you have done it before. Already from the starting point, we had partners being the University of Luxembourg that will play a key role in digital maturity assessment, the Luxembourg House of Security around everything around cybersecurity. We have also the LIST with us that is playing a key role around everything around test before invest, and the Competence Center of the University of Luxembourg is playing a key role of everything around training, on the training skills and training. Our traditional partners, the Chamber of Commerce, the FEDIL, and the FNR, are still with us to continue to get in the right reach and to be the right partners for leveraging the community. One last word before I close to say we are doing here at Luxembourg, but as I mentioned, there are different E-DIHs across Europe, and we have actually signed back in December a very specific agreement with one of the greater region, or the E-DIHs of the greater region, for specific collaboration among the greater region on the different test before invest training, etc. So you will hear a lot more from us about that leverage. So what does it mean in short? Moving from what we used to be the Luxembourg Digital Innovation Hub into a Luxembourg Digital Innovation Hub, being now part of the D-IH, it means we have more means to come to you, focusing on training before invest and everything around test before invest, but also about the leveraging the competences we have in the greater region and into Europe and to bring it to you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Arno. So if the audience has already some questions, please raise your questions in the questions section. There is already one question from Jane that actually I can answer if those presentations will be made available after this webinar. Generally, the replay of the entire seminar is available as mentioned at the beginning, and it will also be available through our Luxinnovation YouTube channel. Normally we don't make the presentations available as download, just to answer that one. And I don't see more questions coming up right now, Arno. But Arno, maybe you can explore a bit more on the service catalog, if you don't mind, because how will it become visible, for example, to our ecosystem?
Yeah, thank you, Joe. So I mean, again, so I have shown you what are the new services being shipped. So we have joined the network actually of E-DIH in the course of January. So we are setting that up for you, and that whole service catalog will be visible on the platform itself in the coming, I would say, in the coming 2 months, gradually, when the services will be deployed to you. If you already have a specific interest in what I've shown you today, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We can already start, but if you want about the marketing of that and the visibility of the wider public, will be in the course of April, May.
Okay, thank you, Arno. I don't see any further questions yet. I mean, then following the timeline that we had planned, then I propose we move on, and I introduce the next two speakers, which is actually Sri Koller from the university. Sri just became postdoctoral researcher recently after finishing his PhD at the university. Congrats again, Sri, for this major achievement at the Luxembourg University. And he is at a special place with a special person, Robert Francois from Astron Buildings. And so we will listen now to one of the examples that will become visible as part of our service catalog. And we will also hear the voice of one of the very close cooperation partners, I would say, which is Astron Buildings. So the platform is yours, Sri.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Sri. I am from the University of Luxembourg. Today, I'm going to present you one of the services that are offered by the Luxembourg Digital Innovation Hub. That service is Digital Maturity Assessment. You might have heard this digital maturity assessment from many places before, but now it is more uniformed at the European framework level. So basically, it's a framework to assess the overall digital maturity of any manufacturing entity or any production entity. So this is uniform now across Europe with 6 dimensions, as you see, which we will see in the next slide a bit deeper. And also there will be a question always asked is like, when is the right time to do a digital maturity assessment? So before taking any of the services, that is T0, before taking any of the services from Luxembourg Digital Innovation Hub, it is mandatory to go through a digital maturity assessment. And after that, there will be an intervention of a service from one of the consortium members or a software provider or a vendor. Then after a year, we could do the digital maturity assessment again to see whether the company is going in the right direction or not. And after again, you can have a service interventions. And 2 years down the line, we will do one final digital maturity assessment. So if you see the next slide, here is the overview of the framework digital maturity assessment. Here you have 6 dimensions, starting with digital business strategy. In this digital business strategy, we talk more about the investments or the business ideas that the companies will have. And enterprise readiness level for the digitalization is discussed in this dimension. In the digital readiness dimension, we talk more about the technology and the solution that the company already have and planning to have. And the most important dimension is human-centric digitalization, where we talk about upskilling and reskilling of the staff. And the last, in the 4th dimension, we talk about the data and the data storage and integration of data with other services, as well as the most important aspect, which you covered already, is data security. And the last 2 dimensions talk about automation and intelligence and the green digitalization. Here we will assess the current level of automation in your company, as well as the current level of sustainable processes in the company in terms of digitalization. All right, at the end of the day, if you do a digital maturity assessment with the Digital Innovation Hub in Luxembourg, what is the use? You can see here, you get an overview of where you are in the digital transition. For example, here you could see it shows where you are lacking and where you are actually progressing. Not just about you, but you can also compare yourself with many other industries across Europe. For example, in this graph, you could see a company, after doing a digital maturity assessment, they wanted to compare themselves with the textile industry in Portugal. This is possible. And also, you could also compare yourself with the textile industry in the EU, or medium companies you could select and compare, because this digital maturity assessment is done by all the 170 hubs that Arno mentioned in the previous presentation, and everybody is using the same platform, and everybody is using the same digital maturity assessment. So we at the University of Luxembourg have previous experience. Even before the European Unified Framework, we had a previous experience with digital maturity assessment, which is more deeper. Here we had 5 dimensions with 36 modules. Some of you in the chat might have already done this digital maturity assessment with us. Certainly the partner that is going to speak after me from the Astron Buildings. So here we do the deep analysis and we find out these pain points where the company can apply some digital interventions to mature further. In the last 4 years at the University of Luxembourg, during part of my PhD, as well as the project pilot, we have assessed total 100 companies in greater region of greater region, including the French partners, Belgian partners, and the German partners. And after 100 assessments, we have conducted 30 case studies in these countries. These case studies are direct outcomes of this assessment. After assessment, we find pain points, we suggest projects, and then we improve those pain points doing a case study. You can find out the outcomes of this in this website mentioned here. But for now, we would like to give you one example. Now the testimonial will be presented by Robert Francois. He's the production manager at Astron Buildings. We have started our cooperation in 2019, and the cooperation is still going on. And now I would like to have Francois coming here and presenting his experience working in the project.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. Many thanks for the invitation. I'm here just for a testimony about the fruitful experience we had with Uni Luxembourg. The first project 4 years ago now was a lean production scheduling for high mix, low volume manufacturing. The goal was for production scheduling based on process operation time instead of tons, as we did before. The objectives, they were to increase the production efficiency on the primary framing, to bring greater visibility and control over the production processes, to simplify the process, but also to reduce the waste and to eliminate the waste. After this thesis, the student was hired by Astron to continue the implementation. We took profit of this basis to develop a pricing method for our welded sections, the beams, the columns we produce daily. As we have a mix of products by type, by size, we have great fluctuation in the weekly volumes. So better than to work on average price per ton, as we did, we developed a method to evaluate the cost by product, considering the complexity, the workflow, the material, and the time. This thesis helped us also to implement the QR code system through the full process. It helped also, of course, in daily work, but in the manufacturing flow, and also for the yearly inventory. The second project, it was production scheduling and optimization in the secondary area. These objectives, they were very similar as the previous project, but in another subject, another area. The products there are more easy to produce. Most of them are all formed, and it was easy and quicker to implement this work or this flow. So actually, we have still 2 projects ongoing, one related with automation, and the other one about the preparation of the new ERP solution. We are updating the CNC applications and so on. So many thanks for your attention, and many thanks for the support we got from the Uni Luxembourg, the team, and all others. Thanks for your attention. And
thank you, gentlemen. Very interesting, and I really like this experience sharing of a collaboration between the university as one of our research centers in Luxembourg with one of your clients, Sri. Sri, maybe a question from my side. I mean, with your experience you have on this digital maturity assessments, comparing now what was done as an Interact project with the solution coming from the European Commission as a really European harmonized initiative. What would you say is the time effort for doing this European-based DMA analysis?
Especially the European-based DMA, we in our consortium we call it the light DMA because it actually gives you the quick ideas about digital improvements in the company. It would take around 30 to 40 minutes to do it. But after that, if the company wants to go deeper, we could also offer the full DMA service, which is this that you can see on the screen now. This would take around 2.5 hours, including a plant tour, because some of the questions can only be answered right if we do the plant tour and actually find the answers from the plant. So the light DMA at the European framework would take 30 to 40 minutes, and the full DMA would take around 2.5 hours.
Okay, thank you. I don't see questions in our questions section coming up. I mean, I like to underline to the audience, first of all, to encourage you to raise your voice, because we do these webinars for you. But what we have recognized as a DIH, I can really underline already that these kind of assessments can be quite eye-opening, because particularly the European one has a huge advantage that it will benchmark yourself and it will stay confidential against others in your specific sector you are in, because everything linked to digital transformation and innovation at the end is supposed to make you more competitive. And I think benchmarking for yourself can be quite eye-opening, and also to see what are the areas you should tackle as the first thing. Sri, I know that you have performed several of those deep dive DMAs here in Luxembourg. What's your experience? I mean, we have seen the interesting result from Astron now, but if we take it a bit more generalistic, what would you say? What were the biggest takeaways? What were the good things for the clients that participated in the Interact program?
In this project, Interact project, for the last 4 years until end of December 2022, I had a huge, good opportunity to meet at least 25 clients. Out of these 100, 25 are from Luxembourg. And out of those 25 assessments, I figured out that Luxembourg is actually doing pretty well in terms of road mapping themselves and initiating projects. And also, after the assessment, out of these 30 case studies, 8 of them are done in Luxembourg. So I would say that the ecosystem is really interesting in transitioning themselves, and they are actually, the management is actually very interested in doing these projects, and the case studies are the prime example of how interested they are. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Meanwhile, we have a question basically asking how to, whom to contact in order to make this kind of assessments. Just from my side to say, Arno mentioned already, we will place all these services that are available through our new E-DIH consortium will become visible on our web pages, and you can basically, let's call it, order from there. But at the moment, thank you, Sri. You can certainly directly get in contact with Sri or directly contact the DIH, and we will coordinate accordingly. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
I don't see more questions yet. Sri, you like to add something?
No, it's absolutely fine if until the platform is ready to ready to access the orders, it's a good idea either they contact directly either you or Arnaud or myself if they're interested in doing DMA. Anyway, we collaborate and we're gonna go there together. So
thank you, Sri. Then let's move on. No further questions I see on our platform. So let me introduce the next speaker, which will be Samuel Renaud. Samuel is since more than 8 years working at the list, and he has really specialized in innovation and related technologies. And now certainly focusing since a longer time already on artificial intelligence. And I'm really looking forward to your presentation too. The floor is yours, Samuel. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Joe, for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. I'm really pleased to present you today, indeed, the activity that we will perform within the E-DIH, which is about test before invest. So first, for those who don't know us very well, Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, we are a research and technology organization here in Luxembourg. We are active in 4 main fields, and one of these fields is informatics. And obviously, it will be the focus for today and for the activities in the DIH. So in the informatics department, we are a bit more than 100 persons, and we are more or less all active in a way or another in artificial intelligence in various fields. So artificial intelligence is a very wide area where we can consider it from many viewpoints, and this is more or less what we are doing here. So you see here the list of topics that we have in our portfolio and in our research activities, from responsibility in doing data science and analytics, or developing strong software dealing with artificial intelligence. And one particular aspect that is really a focus point for me and for my activities in particular is also the AI explainability. AI becomes more and more complex, and we need to be able to explain it and explain why AI comes at some point to specific decision. And this is, for example, one of the field of interest we have here in our department. Also to mention that we are tooled to work with artificial intelligence. So we made an investment a couple of years ago into a very large and versatile toolbox for performing artificial intelligence projects and high performance data analytics projects. So this toolbox is in fact a set of hardware, software, and cloud services. So for the hardware that we have here on premise, hosted and operated within LIST, it's in fact a set of various clusters that comes with GPU to accelerate the processing that is necessary to develop artificial intelligence model. With regard to software, we have various software stacks for data analytics and artificial intelligence that comes in open source and in proprietary format. So for example, we have some tools from IBM that we run here on premise, but we also have more or less the same equivalent in open source format, also running on premise. And why do we have those sets of software? In fact, it's to address the various levels of users. So you might be a very beginner in artificial intelligence, and then we have software stack that can help you as a beginner to deal with building an artificial intelligence model and performing tasks of data analytics and data cleaning, for example, through specific software. If on the other side you are already an expert, then you might consider other software tools that are more dedicated to experts. And as I mentioned, we also have access to cloud service as anyone could have, and in particular, we have access to two, but we plan to extend to more service providers. And one important aspect also is we have a large visualization facility here in List that is really useful to analyze large data set or data set that cover a very long period of time. And this facility is a visualization wall. With this infrastructure, we have run several projects, and here is an illustration of three kinds of projects that we have run. So, for example, in the energy sector, we have used infrastructure to identify behaviors of energy consumer over time periods using anonymized smart meters data. For product improvement, we have a very nice project with a company that develop automatic telescope. And for this company, we have used AI techniques, and we have developed AI models to improve the image that is captured by the telescope, to go beyond the hardware limitation of those telescopes and to reduce, for example, the environmental noise, such as the light pollution coming from the city, and that makes the image less shiny. So using AI, we have been able to improve the image of those telescopes, and so to contribute to the product improvement. In a more industrial context, for example, we have also several experience in improving manufacturing processes using AI technique, for example, to predict a physical effect that occurs in production based on the sensors on the production line or on the parameters from the production and from the MES or the ERP system that we can include to build the AI system. Now coming deeper into the test before invest, we see test before invest as an entry point to digital transformation. And what we want to do here in the DIH is to grant access to the technologies around Industry 4.0, to grant access to the technology and also to provide support with experts to ease company making their decision whether or not to invest in such technology and to start such project. So the benefits for company to perform the test before invest is first to understand what is the technology we are talking about. So for example, in artificial intelligence, does it have a potential for the company? What are the limits? What are the myths around those technologies? So this is clearly the scope of test before invest. Also accessing a safe environment where you can test the technology without any risk towards your production environment. So to strengthen your decision by increasing the knowledge and the confidence about the technology, defining the requirements ahead for the technology, and so reducing the risk of failure and in the end saving money. So how will this work within the DIH? As it was mentioned already, so test before invest is a new dimension of the DIH offering. And following the steps of the DIH, inform, inspire, engage, we define three steps for test before invest, which are awareness session, generic technology testing, and custom technology testing. How does this work? First, you should come, you will browse the catalog of services on the DIH website, and then you will register for one of those services. And the starting point will be probably the awareness session, where you will learn about the service offering, the technology that you can test, and the partner who can help you in testing. Then you will go probably to generic technology testing, and here we will have groups of companies together embed into a workshop, a hands-on workshop, where they will test a specific kind of technology just to understand the potential it can have for their business. And if it is successful, then you will go to the custom technology testing, and here it will be a series of workshops dedicated to a specific company where we can explore further the business challenge of the company and how AI or other kind of technology can support those business challenge. And in the end, after this custom technology testing, company will have a plan for developing a proof of concept. And developing this proof of concept will be something external to the D-IH, but thanks to the marketplace already available in the D-IH and our knowledge of those experts in the marketplace, you will be able to touch a specific service provider to develop your proof of concept in this field. And the next steps for us are to fine-tune the services. So the awareness session should be ready in the coming weeks, or hopefully next month. For the generic technology testing using our infrastructure on AI and data analytics, we should be able to start something in July. And for the customized technology testing, we are almost ready yet, but we should start in autumn to follow the logic of the flow. And in autumn also, we will publish a first set of test before invest facilities. So the catalog that was mentioned earlier by Arno, for example, on the DIH.lu website. And we will, of course, participate to the DIH events, but I think it's the part of the talk for the next part in this webinar. So I leave the floor to Joe for that part. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Samuel. Very interesting and very encouraging, I would say, because as we can see, and going back to the elements that Arno raised in his overview, we are really going from an awareness build up to kind of training, know-how shifting into the clients, into the manufacturing companies, but at the same time, quite critical also to listen to the clients and the pain points and find out where potentially AI can help. And related to that, we have two questions. The one I can answer is, will the attendees of today, will they get informed by us once the service catalog is available? The answer is yes. Generally, once you are registered, you are part of our marketing list, and you will get updates on a regular basis for events and also major activities or news that we like to share with the community. And just to say it again, certainly, and thanks to our Marcom department here at Luxinnovation, we have seen already the demos of the new features we will have in the near future that will help us to build a community and to allow a direct exchange between all the different actors via this platform that we use today, and that will be another media to stay connected, basically. And now, Samuel, there is an important question from Gustavo asking, in case they start a project with you, but the project is on very sensitive data, can you guarantee, is there any kind of security guards on the data protection, generally speaking?
Yes, for sure. So when we work with on the project that I mentioned, when we work with private company, we take, of course, care of the data. We sign usually a non-disclosure agreement also to be sure that nothing will leak, and we have strong security procedure to guarantee that the data that come into our infrastructure stays into our infrastructure. And you always have the power to manage the data, to open the access, and to remove the data from the infrastructure after the project is finished.
Thank you, Samuel, for the clear answer on that one. And there is another interesting question from Netcompany asking how to get linked to us. I think Samuel and Arno mentioned it already. When you visit our DIH.lu web pages, we have an area that is called Marketplace. And if you believe you have good solutions that are prone for the manufacturing sector, just register at Marketplace. We automatically get in contact with you and have an exchange. Usually after your registration, we have minimum 1 hour discussion, because that's also one of the sources where we can decide to involve you also in this kind of events like the DIH talk or the other things that I'm going to share in a moment. So be invited to become part of our community. First place would be on the provider side to register on Marketplace.
Maybe Joe, if I can complement to the question, because I mean, it's they have a lot of premature technology they want to further test also. I mean, that's something we can of course discuss with you, how to best collaborate, not only from a DH point of view, but also what you could leverage into any of the ecosystems of the partners, be it with the list, be it with the university or with Luxinnovation.
Thank you, Arno. Okay, I think there are no further questions. Then I would move to the last part of our today's session. Just waiting, and I will use our sneak review concept, but this time we are going to pre-disclose other items we have in our program. You know, the sneak review as part of this DIH talk concept is normally to allow newcomers into the Luxembourgish market that have something to offer in the area of manufacturing or startups or any other player in research, to give the last 10 minutes of each DIH talk to such a provider to speak about their solution and make them known. Today, we will simply use it to share a few other things that we have planned as a part of our DIH program. One special thing still falling under the DIH talk will be, we will minimum have one DIH talk special from the Hannover Fair. And this DIH talk is basically incorporated in the European Community Days, because there is actually, we will have 2 weeks where the focus of those 2 weeks of all the different E-DIHs in Europe will be on digital twin technology. And we will simply take the fact that we are present at Hannover. We will look around and seek for new technologies and trends that are related to digital twin and make those interview partners available throughout the DIH talk session that we will broadcast live from Hannover. And as most of you certainly know, most companies that have new solutions in their pocket, let's say, are using the Hannover Fair to announce it. And I'm pretty sure that specifically on that topic, we will find and identify very interesting interview partners, and we will soon be open for registrations for this event too, once we have clarity on the program. Now, interesting is the fact that since we are becoming E-DIH, we will also be present at the Hannover Fair, at the National Pavilion of Luxembourg, and you might wonder why we are doing it. And I can only repeat what Arno said in his introduction. Our aim is, in your interest, to increase our network and look for other E-DIHs with interesting programs and services that could be utilized for Luxembourg or the greater region as well. Also help some of the players we have in Luxembourg to get known outside the Luxembourg borders, of course, as well. and we will simply use the presence of ourselves at the Hannover Fair to connect to other players in that area. And also here we are very confident that this will be a great week for us, a great opportunity for all of us, I should say, to find interesting partners and services that are maybe nearby that were so far not identified. And that's the reason why we will be there. Moving on. Now, D-IH on tour, it's probably not so unknown to you anymore. But last year we had particularly great feedback and great success, I would say, with the fact that we added a new component, which was the factory tour that was normally given by the company that was hosting us and the bus during that specific days. And we had many visitors coming to all those different factory tours. Actually, we had 9 in total. And that was also the feedback we received. The factory tour is a great thing because it's not only discussing new technologies and how they can be applied. It's also about seeing how they are applied in a different context in companies. And this is something that is highly appreciated. And again, the survey has shown that particularly if the factory tour is the format that had the highest ranking and the best feedback from the things we did last year. Having that said, that was at the same time also a bit I don't like to call it a complaint, but we had many people that would have been interested, if possible, to join all 9 factory tours. And they were basically asking, can we not split the tour into 2 or 3 elements? And we decided to offer the tour 2 times this year, once in May 23 to 25, 3 days again. We will start in the south, move to the center and in the north. So in total, we will have 2 factory tours by hosting companies. We are still searching for candidates. So if somebody is listening and likes to volunteer, more than welcome. Just connect with us and we make that happen. Because again, it's all about establishing a sharing community within Luxembourg, within the greater region of all the different actors. And we are going to repeat that from the 3rd to the 5th of October, again, 3 days, following basically the same concept. And as Samuel has already mentioned it, of course, it's not only the factory tour, the full day has a program where we will have again kind of awareness session, training sessions in the bus or potentially also at the site of the hosting company on specific technologies, methodologies around digital transformation, industry 4.0 technologies, and so on and so far. Moving on. Very important, and you should really save the date already. After the good success also from last year of the smart manufacturing as a physical event, after offering this unfortunately during the pandemic as a webinar only session, we like to come back, and we are planning the first week of June to have again our Smart Manufacturing Week that is organized by Luxinnovation in general, and we are also contributing to it as we did last year, having minimum 1 day fully concentrating on the digital part of manufacturing and manufacturing solutions during that event that we will host this year at the Lux Expo. And you can see on the participant, and I really like to underline that due to the fact that it is a physical event, it's really a great event also for networking. And that's what people appreciated last year. And we had quite good feedback on that event in general terms. Finally, and that again goes back to the feedback we have received, because some people that were already aware that or basically told us to look after beyond the borders of Luxembourg. And that is now a perfect link to our E-DIH, becoming E-DIH. We are in the process to organize a 2-day tour with a bus. It will not be the school bus, of course. It will be a travel coach, of course. And the idea is to, first of all, to visit the SPS fair in Nuremberg, which is meanwhile the largest automation fair in Europe. And I have been there after many years last year, and I was quite impressed about it. And again, can only encourage people to go there. And if you like to join us on the bus, we will organize accommodation and so on. But since it's also quite a ride, it's about 5-6 hours, depending traffic conditions, getting through Germany on such a day. We decided to make it a 2-day tour, and we are right now in contact with several companies in Germany that are known of operating a so-called smart factory. And so one of the 2 days will be reserved to visit one of those smart factories in Germany, to get a factory tour again, getting in contact with people that build it up, how they made it, and what are the elements that made those smart factories a smart factory. So we are really looking forward to get this organized, and we will soon also be open for early registrations to plan the tour and see also what kind of bus we have to use for the tour. And that leads now to the end of today's sessions. Actually, we are already a little bit over time, and you will find under interactivity now a little questionnaire. We would certainly appreciate if you could quickly answer if you like the program as we have built it up, because that's really critical feedback to us. And just to say it again, even if I repeat myself, we need your feedback. We are here to support you. We are here to support your digital transformation, but we need your input. Otherwise, we will together not be successful in accelerating the process. So I see certainly a few answers coming back, not a lot yet, but please take the time. It's not more than a click, but a click that is quite fast. Once you answer, I specifically like to thank you today for participating. And of course, a special thanks to the speakers we had today, Arno, Sri, Robert, Samuel. Particularly Robert, because it's always good that we listen to the voice of our clients, because that makes a difference in the things we present here at the D-IH Talk. And this is also the spirit we like to continue with in the near future. So let's work together. Let's build that E-DIH community. Looking forward to welcome you again once we have the special D-IH talk live from Hannover Fair. And I'm also hoping to welcome you again in all the different sessions we have planned for the year. And please contact us also if you like to become a speaker. Thank you very much. And I say already now, bon weekend, have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.